There are news reports that there are now 300,000 men that have been killed in battle in Ukraine in 2022. And it's sickening to imagine, and it's also very sick that this could happen and that anyone would turn their backs on it, and which is it does explain a lot of intrigue from World War II. We looked at it, the history, and said, how could this have ever happened? And now we are watching this occur. It's very sickening to think that 300,000 men died in battle, and it's inconceivable. It's like an extension of the imagination to even conceive of 300,000 men having died in a battle in 2022, and what a battle scene experience is like. So why are men killing other men? And they say the men are killing the other men because it's a war. And what is the purpose of a war? They said the purpose of the war is to control territory, to use armies and control territory. So why do we have countries? Why do we have countries and territories? For what? For what? We have countries because they provide economic power. Economic power is something that we got because we all work for something. All of the people are working. They're working for things. And we wanted to share everything we worked for so that we would all have this incredible experience because of the sharing of everything that we worked for. And there are some ways that people have been using in order to take a greater share than they ever worked for. So to know why we have these countries is to have economic power. And whose country is this then? Well, the country is the people's who are wielding the economic power. It's from the people's work. So there is a predatory system. The predatory system is named monopoly. And a monopoly is very easy to understand, and a monopoly is a very simple thing. Monopoly works in one way. And what the monopoly wants to do is to dominate the market. That's what monopoly is. And 100 years ago, monopolies were outlawed in Europe. And the reason why monopolies were outlawed is because a monopoly would mean that one person or a small group of people are controlling all of the market. So it would make them like the king of the market. It would give them power over a market that they are not working. Whose labor strength is generating that market? So there are other ways that markets are being created that are having more than, that are trying to create more than their fair share, in take more than their fair share. And those are monopolies on resources. Monopolies on resources are dangerous because often those resources are things that are commonly needed and that are needed for the greater good. It becomes very dangerous when certain markets are dominated. So the monopoly, it's very easy to understand how the monopoly works. It's going to try to dominate the market. And the number one thing that the monopoly is going to do is that it's going to come into the city and it's going to decide which other businesses are doing the same thing as him. Like any family businesses. Maybe there are 2 bakeries and 2 meat shops in the city, and 2 different families are helping all of the city have internet. What the monopoly wants to do is make it so that only one man has all of the internet, one man has owning all of the bread, and one man is owning all of the meat. So that's monopoly. When everything in the city, full of thousands and thousands of families, all of the markets are controlled by only one family or one person. And that becomes dangerous when they're accumulating more and more power over more and more people. That's not their fair share. So what the monopoly does is come into the city, and they will offer, because the monopoly is how it operates, is what it needs to do is it needs to come in and it needs to attack all the other businesses in the city. So in order to attack, and it needs to destroy all of the other businesses in the city in order to become a monopoly. So what they do is they come in and they say that I will give you all of the bread for $1 cheaper. I'll give you all the meat for $1 cheaper. I'll give you all the electric for $1 cheaper. And then after a small time, a couple of years, when the local business is not making any money for their work anymore because the monopoly is giving it cheaper than what it costs to make it, then the families will go bankrupt and their businesses will close down. And then the only one left in the city is going to be the one man and his monopoly, and he will have a monopoly at that time. The moment he has the monopoly, he can change. The moment that there is not 2 families or 3 families where you can decide to buy this one or this one, the moment he has the monopoly, he is going to raise the price of everything 2 times more, or to whatever he wishes. And you won't be able to get it from anywhere else but him, and you will have to pay that price in order to get it. So they've done this in absolutely every market. They come in there and they offer to give something for less price. They do it by, obviously, it costs more to make it, but they are selling it for less than what it costs to make it, so that they can kill all the other businesses around. So this is somewhere, this someone is being taken advantage of in order to get this cheaper. So often they would just have go into debt. They would just go into debt because their pockets are very deep, and they would take millions of dollars in losses, and then they would just bounce back from it by double charging after they have established the monopoly of the market. So they did exactly this also in the grandest scale, and this was a major economic attack during the 2008 banker bailout after the big economic attack or war that was going on. So what happened was there was two big businesses that were giving out most of the loans for homes, for homes. So anyone who had a job and wanted to purchase their own home could go to the bank, and they would say, because you're working at this job and you make this much money, you can get this home. And then you just pay a small money every month. And then after giving out all of these loans, what they did was, because there are monopolies over all of the businesses, that they just started recycling businesses. And the stock market was also working at the same time to take the equity out of businesses by allowing people to take a stock and cash it in, and cash in the equity out of the company constantly until they just bankrupted the company. So businesses, basically, no one in the whole country could keep a job for more than a year. No one in the whole country could keep a job where you could get a loan and thinking that you had a promising career, and then find that all of these corrupt practices and corrupt changing of heads and corrupt different things that were occurring inside the businesses were causing you to lose your job, no matter what you did, no matter how good of a person you were. And that they were constantly cutting people loose from their jobs so that nobody had a stable job. And though that is something that a family business provided, that a monopoly will never allow, and that is to allow you to have a stable job and to allow you to acquire property and preserve your property independently. So they were all in collusion to tank the market and by cashing out the equity of the companies, and then to extend everybody loans on conditions that you would be left holding the bag for property that you were never going to have a chance of actually possessing. So it was absolutely 100% economic attack. And then after they extended all of those loans to all of the people in the country, tanked out and stole all their life savings, then they used our taxes, off our backs of our labor. They used our taxes to pay back our own money that they took with the loans. They loaned out our money, and then they taxed us and we paid ourselves back for their credit defaults. And they were left holding all the gold, and we were left double robbed. So we have a lot of riches, and we have economic power, and we are being hijacked and robbed. So this war in Ukraine is an oil war. It's a war that is over the dominance of the oil industry, and there is so who are these monopolies that think that they can take control of our governments? The people that think they can monopolize our economic power they can take it from us, and that they can even go and take our government, take control of our government, and even use our governments against us. And these wars are very dangerous, because they are the work of monopolies and governments who are 100% destroying the economic power of the people. Like in Ukraine, who controls the territory is the reason for the war, or the political reasons are the reason for the war. But they are destroying the economic power. Those cities, when the buildings are destroyed, those are the economic tools and the infrastructure. So they are destroying our economic infrastructure. And there is a lesson in they are also keeping us, trying to keep us from being able to stop them. They're trying to prevent us from being able to stop them from taking advantage of us. They are very violent. And there is a lesson in the religion of Abraham. And it is that, and the Antichrist is very much like this Shaitan. The one thing about that is taught about the devil is that God taught Adam the names of all the things in the world. So God taught Adam how to speak. And speaking is language. Language is for communication. So God taught Adam language for communication by speaking. And then God said, all of the angels would kiss your feet because you can speak. You have language and you have communication. And this makes you worthy of all of the angels to kiss your feet. But there was one, Iblis, Satan, Lucifer, who said that he does not respect man's ability to speak. He does not respect man's language, and he doesn't respect man's ability to communicate. And not only this, that he would lie in wait, that he would hide on the road of the people every day trying to make his downfall. And this is a essential understanding about our place in the war now, is that the Satan's interaction with us is first to stop us talking, to disrespect our ability of communication with disinformation, to stop our freely speaking. And that is how they were able to organize themselves so strongly against us. And it has become an incredible danger now that not only have they hijacked such a powerful force, the economy, but they also have built weapons, like terrible, terrible weapons of mass destruction, and that they have secret weapons of mass destruction that they're actively attacking each other with now, and that weapons that they want to be able to continue to use in secret upon the people, to kill all the people. And it just shows us that there is a tremendous danger in the of the power that the governments are wielding at this time against us. And here is the terrible, this is Ukraine, where the terrible violence and death and destruction, they're destroying, trying to destroy all of Ukraine. This orange here is where 50% of the oil of Ukraine is being produced here. 50% of the oil is coming out of the Kharkiv, Putlava area. And this is the locations of, here's a shale gas block here. Here is where they have been taking all the oil and gas here, even in Belarus. And then over here in the Ukraine, all of this. And they also have oil here in Crimea oil and gas basin. So these are all of the, and there are a series of pipelines that go from Russia, and they go across all over and branch all over Ukraine. Those are the Russian-owned oil pipelines. And this is, incidentally, the same area right here where the Russians have invaded and are attempting to maintain control of.